Hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. Many of you will know that I'm starting a small-scale coral farm, which consists of 3 systems totaling nearly 4,000 litres, or 1,000 US gallons. For me, this is a big undertaking. An additional 3 systems of this size is a lot of extra work. Therefore, I want to try to make sure everything is as automated and simple as possible. This means getting my first aquarium controller. For those of you that don't know, an aquarium controller is like adding a brain to your tank, which can think and do things for you, and can fundamentally change the way that you interact with it. There are multiple controllers on the market, however the one that I've always wanted for the coral room is the GHL ProfiLux 4, for a very specific reason: continuous, automatic water testing. Each system will require constant monitoring of calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, pH, salinity, temperature, nitrate and even potassium, and by combining the ProfiLux 4 with the GHL KH Director and Ion Director, in theory the only test that I'll need to do each week is phosphate, essentially eliminating one of the most time-consuming and mundane parts of owning a reef tank. It isn't just about being lazy though. These systems could eventually hold thousands of coral frags, and having something which will protect the corals and contact me in real time if anything dips outside the designated parameters could be the difference between this project being a success or failure. It will also have a significant impact on the tank stability and my own peace of mind, as I'll know what's going on with the water chemistry every day rather than just once a week. For a coral geek like me, this is the holy grail of the hobby: truly automated testing. Those of you that have followed the channel for a while now will know that I like to be transparent with you. GHL sent me this controller. How I came about receiving it though wasn't planned, and it was actually a series of unfortunate events. My dosing pump on the 1,000 litre tank failed. This pump doses a litre of solutions gradually throughout the day, every single day. Therefore, in reef-keeping terms, this was an emergency. I needed a replacement immediately, and purchased the GHL Doser 2.1. What I didn't realise was there are 2 versions of this doser: a standalone or master doser, and a slave version which requires a controller or master to operate. I contacted GHL directly to see if they would swap it over for the correct one which I needed, and they very kindly offered to send me the controller to try out instead. This isn't unusual, as companies send me products all the time to test. Many of them I use and send back, and you never see them, as I can't honestly say that I would be using them long term. However, this was different. As the ProfiLux 4 was already planned for the coral room, I'm happy to show off its features, but as you know, I rarely give a personal opinion on anything until I've experienced them for an extended period of time. And it's then not unusual for me to create another video after 6 months or even 2 years later, showing you long-term usage. It isn't my responsibility to sell you a product, nor do I want to. I can show you its facts and features, and in theory, if they're good enough, they should sell themselves. Right, let's get back to the controller. When I was younger, I learned a bit about marketing, and I firmly believe that you can tell an awful lot about how much a company cares about their products from the packaging. When opening a premium product, the customer wants to feel like it's a premium product from the beginning, as it's all part of the experience. I can honestly say that the modern design and sleeve does make it feel like that. So let's have a look at what you get inside the box. Inside the box you get the controller itself, 4 probes which measure pH, salinity, temperature and redox, computer cables, the power cable, the power bar which has 6 outlets for plugging in external devices such as your heaters, and calibration fluids, which I thought was a nice touch to be included. pH, salinity and temperature are pretty self-explanatory. However, redox or ORP is something fewer people test for. ORP is a measurement of oxidizers within your water that break down organic matter, such as fish food. Your ORP will drop significantly if something starts to decay in your aquarium, and the controller can notify you of this drop immediately, rather than you potentially missing it or stumbling across it when you next feed the fish. You can also increase these oxidizers to help speed up the breakdown of organic material by using the correct amount of ozone. I don't know enough about ozone to be advising how to use it, but what I do know is that it's entirely possible to use too much, which is why having a controller to test it is important. What I have found fascinating is that now that I have the ability to test for something new, I've started to research ozone. As always with my tank, if I know I can do something better, I want to try to improve on it. The probes are all laboratory grade and designed to be durable and low maintenance, with the pH and redox probes being the double junction type rather than the less reliable, cheaper single junction type. This is important because there is no point in testing if the results aren't as accurate as possible. In addition to the standard probes which come with the set, there are multiple upgrades which don't come as standard, such as auto top-up, humidity, flow and leak sensors, and you can even get automatic stirrers for your dosing containers, which I thought was a nice touch and hope to utilise one day. As you can probably tell by the name, the ProfiLux 4 is the 4th generation of GHL Aquarium Controllers. This shows a company's willingness to continuously improve and grow with the desires of the industry, as well as adding new technology when it becomes available. My only concern with regards to using the Aquarium Controller was that many of you will know I'm not very technical, and I was under the impression that controllers were very complicated and required coding, therefore I shied away from them. This wasn't the case at all. I found it surprisingly intuitive, and it could even be set up on my phone. What I will say is it's important to follow the instructions. There was one bit which I struggled with, but this was because I was doing the wrong thing and trying to set everything up without the instructions, and I didn't write down the IP address of the controller. For those of you that get one of these, during the setup process it shows you the IP address. Remember to write it down as you'll need it later. Calibrating the sensors with reagents was also easy, and if you take out the bit where I messed up, the basic setup would have taken no more than 30 minutes, including calibration. Once set up, there are 3 ways to communicate with the controller. It can be locally, where you're in the same room, there is an app, and there's also a cloud-based system called MyGHL. This last one is incredibly useful for me, as it will allow me to log in from anywhere in the world, which means when I'm documenting the reefing shows, I'll still know that everything back home is doing as it should, and can adjust the parameters from my phone if something isn't quite right. Something I'm more than happy to comment on is that GHL have done an exceptional job with regards to creating easy to follow tutorial videos, and I also want to point in the direction of a fellow YouTuber called Grail, who has created his own setup videos on the controller and helped me to resolve my IP address issue. Links for all of these can be found in the description box below. One final mention is that I also enjoy the fact that the controller is sleek, compact and stackable, where the doser, KH and ion directors are all the same size and design, therefore they can all be placed on top of each other. As you can see from the designs of the coral farm, although not essential, I aim to make it look as professional and aesthetically pleasing as possible. Usually I hide all the equipment, whereas I plan to have these on show if I can find somewhere to display them. Until then, it's been set up on my 1,000 litre tank, and I can honestly say I've become one of those controller geeks that likes to open the app 50 times a day just to see what the levels are currently doing. The water chemistry of our tanks is changing constantly, and it's fascinating when you get to see it in real time, as it makes you realise a lot more is going on with the tank than we can visually see. I hope you enjoy watching my video. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. If you did enjoy it, why not click that like and subscribe button. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time.